Hello everyone, and thank you very much for choosing our session today. I do appreciate it's been 2 very long days and your brains are probably overloaded with information right now. We want to talk to you about enhancing the recruiter and the candidate experience with LinkedIn integrations. My name is Mairead Behan, and as a technical consultant at LinkedIn, I see myself more as a translator who translates all those horrible technical conversations into nice, easy business conversations with my customers. This is my teammate Rory.
Hi, I'm Rory Colley, and when I'm not trying to grow a mustache for Movember, I also work with the global accounts in EMEA to help them get the very most out of the LinkedIn platform. And this is Valerie.
Hi, at SGS, I am contributing to the acquisition of about 20,000 talented people around the world. And what we do at SGS, at a glance, we are the #1 and we aim to remain the #1 in the certification, inspection, verification and testing industry. Some of you may not know SGS, but we are in fact a large company with more than 80,000 employees around the world. We have a very global footprint, and we have lots of offices, in fact more than 1,000 offices and laboratories around the world. What we do, and in relationship with recruitment, is that we provide services to our clients throughout their supply chain in 13 different industries. So when it comes to recruiting, we are recruiting a very diverse population of professionals and managers. We can recruit in oil and gas, we can recruit in life science, we do recruit in consumer. So for us really, when we are recruiting, we are looking at quite a challenging population. And on top of that, we expect that everybody at SGS works with passion, with integrity. Is very key for us. Our customers trust us, and we do need to recruit people with the right mindset and the right behavior. And we're looking at entrepreneurs and innovative people. Our challenge at SGS is to continue to grow. Last year we grew by more than 6% our revenue base. So that's what we try to address as our needs when it comes to recruiting and when it comes to using LinkedIn.
So the world is changing fast. There are jobs, top jobs now, that didn't used to be 10 years ago. Things like big data architect, social media manager, Zumba instructor. I remember all calls used to be made on landlines, and now we've all got mobile devices that have high-speed internet. And we use apps these days to do things like order taxis, connect with each other, and communicate with each other in ways that we never thought possible. So the world is changing constantly, and the world of recruiting is also changing.
Well, if we think back together at the changes in the recruitment space, when we look at candidates, they have a lot of choices today, and probably a lot of choices than they never had before. Think about the way they connect to employers. Think about, as well, the choices that they have with the jobs, provided that they are self-aware of the value that they can bring to the company. And I'm sure for those of you who recruit in EMEA, in different countries, you can relate to the difficulty we sometimes have as recruitment professionals to recruit in countries such as Angola, Saudi Arabia, or in Europe when we're looking for rare skills. I think when you look at the evolution, you can fairly think that the power has shifted a lot towards those candidates rather than staying with us as an employer, which I think drives us to change the way we approach the market and to change the way we approach candidates. In terms of technology, any of you still have a filing cabinet, the metallic one? I do, I have to confess. But we moved as well to databases. Anyone remembers the difficulty to classify those people in the database? You know, the naming convention, all those things, which eased our life a little bit, but were also very difficult to manage. And then the web came, right? And the web obviously brought us innovation because all of a sudden we started to discover the job boards and we started to post and pray as well. It goes with job posting. But today, I think all those channels are still available, but we do discover the power of using social media. And it's definitely, I think, for us as a recruiter, something that we can work with. Mary Head, would you mind telling us how we could work with it?
Sure. I think we're all agreed social media is here to stay. And embracing the powers and the tools that it provides is what's going to make you successful. There's still quite a misconception about LinkedIn that it is a job board. But to realize its full potential, you need to use it as your social media recruiting platform. And if I think today about social media and how I use it personally, I'm a big fan of Facebook, so let's think about that. I use Facebook to connect with people I'm friends with and have a common interest with, and I use it to share relevant content to those people. So LinkedIn is no different to this. LinkedIn is about an ecosystem, building an ecosystem for you and your business to allow people who are interested in you and your company to connect with you, to engage with you, find out more about you, and how maybe you can help with their career. So when we think a little bit more about social media, it's everywhere today. We have so many tools available to us to help us make more informed decisions. I'm a big fan of social media. I use it for everything. So things like TripAdvisor, if I'm booking a hotel, I'll do my research before I make a decision before I book. If I'm booking a restaurant, I'm also going to read reviews before I make a booking at that restaurant. And it's all of this influences that are powering our decisions. And I consider these social-driven decisions. And in fact, 57% of opportunities to engage with your company, the decision to do so is made long before any contact is actually made with your company. People have researched your company long before they reach out to you. So think about that point. And if we think about social media a little bit more, before I click off, let's think about a common scenario and how this applies now to the world of social recruitment. So if we think about a common scenario of online shopping, if I'm going to buy a product, first thing I do is I will do some research. I will research the product. How this translates to the world of recruiting, this is where I would read the job description. I want to know all the details, what's expected of it. The next step in online shopping, I might review the seller. Again, this translates to the world of recruitment where I want to know more about the hiring company. What are they like to work for? What's their employer brand like? What are their company policies? And finally, as an informed consumer, I might read some more reviews. And again, this translates now into the world of social recruitment in terms of maybe employee testimonials, career pages, company recommendations. And it's only once I have done all of this social research that I feel confident and comfortable in applying for a job with your organization based on all of this research I've done.
So embracing social recruitment, it can be actually quite hard. So for that reason, LinkedIn has put together a framework that helps you get the best out of the tools that are available today. So the framework is built into 3 different pillars, the first of which is called Build. Build is about growing your followers and developing your talent brand. The next pillar is called Engage, and Engage is really about taking your content and using it to get your followers really engaged. And the final part, the one you guys are probably all very, very interested in, is the Recruit pillar. And LinkedIn has tools that will help recruiters streamline their workflow and also to help candidates apply for jobs really, really easily and quickly. So let's take a look a little bit at the Build pillar. So LinkedIn provides tools in order to grow your followers and increase your talent brand. And LinkedIn provides this technology called plugins. You can think of them a little bit like the social buttons that you see on websites. The LinkedIn plugins, they're a great way to harness the power of LinkedIn on your website. One of the plugins is called the follower plugin. And if you take the follower plugin and easily put it on your website, you'll see a button that visitors to your website can press, and then they instantly become followers of your company on LinkedIn. So here's an example you'll see on the Kiva website. So by growing your follower base, you're creating an engaged audience for your company news. Most people who follow you, it makes sense that you can target them for job opportunities, use them as a pool of highly engaged potential candidates for your company, and also you can leverage them to grow your talent brand. Valerie, would you like to talk a little bit about how you grew your followers at SGS?
We started our journey 2 years ago, and we started to build our community of followers. At this point in time, we had about 10,000 followers, and we were really in a situation where we didn't have any fancy budget to put on the table. We were really trying to understand what we could do about that, and how we could get engaged followers. And one thing that has been very important for us is the support that we got from the LinkedIn office in Paris. We really found partners, and I want to thank Fabrice Offray today for that, because he's helped us with the support team, Carole, Clément, Philippe, to understand really how we could get simply started. So we really tried to do our best with the resources we had, but also the advisors we could trust. And we were very happy this year to celebrate our followers. We think it's a privilege when the members are choosing your company. They have little time. You and I are members, and we have little time. But when they make a conscious choice to follow the company, we think it's very important to be able to give them back what they're expecting from us. So here is an example of the celebrations we had all around the world in our offices when we reached 100,000 followers. But obviously, we're now looking ahead, and we think it is possible for us to continue. We just have to work hard and smart on that.
So the most popular thing to do on LinkedIn is to look at people's profiles. And I know I do it all the time. In my role, I have a lot of customer calls, and usually it could be the first time I meet these customers. So what really helps me is, if I look at their profiles in advance, I'm able to see their background, I can see a little bit about what they might be particularly interested in, and then I can tailor the discussion at the meeting for those people at the meeting. Did you know that recruiters in your company, they actually receive up to 10 times more profile views than anybody else on LinkedIn? So they're a fantastic resource, fantastic asset for companies to leverage in order to build up highly engaged potential candidates for your company. So another plugin that we use, that you can use, is called the Member Profile plugin. It'll allow you to do things like build an executive page in order to showcase who these people are in a bit more detail, or if you have a blog, you can show who the author is. And the other thing, apart from just a little bit of details, you can see how you're connected to that person. So people are much more engaged once they see maybe they have a connection in their network.
Okay, so Rory has talked to you about engage, or followers. So you've built up all these followers. What next? Now it's important to engage them and encourage them to be interested and engage with your company. Hands up here, anybody who has followed a company or joined a group looking to get useful insights and lots of information, only to be really disappointed and not receive anything relevant.
Definitely.
I know I've done it lots of times. This is exactly what you don't want to happen. You want to utilize all of these followers that you have just created and gain the maximum from them. So hopefully I can demonstrate some tools that will help you do this. So 2 billion. This number is the number of updates across LinkedIn on a weekly basis. 2 billion. So this is not people talking about what they had for breakfast or what the weather is doing. This is professional content and insights. And now is the time for you to start thinking about yourself and your company to get into this space and to be thought of as a thought leader. One of the really useful tools that we have to help you with this is the share button. And if you place this button on your web page, this allows visitors to your web page to share the content onto the LinkedIn network in a really quick, simple, and easy manner. So here's an example where I visited SGS website when I was doing some research when I heard I was going to be presenting today. And I came across this article, which really spoke to me. I'm a big fitness freak, and I thought this was really nice, where all the employees of SGS could bring their bikes into work today, one day, and do a bike tune-up. So I thought this was great, and I shared this out to my network. And in doing so, I took some content from SGS webpage and put it onto LinkedIn and shared it with all of my network, 500 or so connections. And in doing so, what will happen then is anyone who has connected to me will see this in their content. And perhaps they might also be interested and click on the article, thus driving traffic back to the SGS webpage. We talk a lot about all the members on LinkedIn and all the traffic that is available. And this is a way to utilize and gain some advantage from all your investment and divert some of that traffic back to your webpage to get more people interested in your organization. And maybe, Valerie, you can tell me why your team share these sort of articles.
Well, we do share, in fact, a lot of content, and we want to be transparent and open to what it means to live at SGS, and we want to try to represent, what is everyday life, but also we want to be able to share business content. So for us, it's very important to have this functionality, because as you may remember, we are working around the world and we are working across 13 different industries. So we need to provide an easy way for recruiters, but also for business people to share across their content. And it's definitely one functionality we like.
Great. And then on this same thought line, let's think about our experience when we do visit your web page. So as a potential candidate visiting your website, I like to see content that's relevant to me. I like an individual experience and to be treated personally. One of the tools that LinkedIn can provide to help with this is our Sign In with LinkedIn button. And what this does is it allows you to identify who is visiting your web page and maybe alter the content and direct it potentially at the visitor. Here we have an example from Samsung. When I log on to their webpage, I sign in with my LinkedIn profile, and that will give them some high-level details about my profile. So maybe perhaps some information of my background is IT. I also have a background in telco. So when I sign in, they can show me relevant content. And we talked previously on the previous screen about directing traffic to your webpage from LinkedIn. And then think about the case where you have directed traffic to view an article off LinkedIn. You then want to keep them there for as long as possible. So the more engaging and the more tailored the content is, the longer I will potentially spend on your web page, the more opportunity for me to start following your organization and be more interested in it and how it can help my career. So finally, we're going to talk about recruitment, so an area you guys know really well. And hopefully here we can show you some tools as well to help in your organization and leverage your LinkedIn investment. So let's think about the application process now, and let's think about jobs. So as a potential candidate, what is the application process like on your web page? Think about it just for a second. Is it an easy experience? Is it quick? Do I have to click a number of screens? Do I have to fill in my full life story through a number of forms? These are all the things you need to consider for a candidate. As a candidate, I want the process to be quick, simple, and easy. I perhaps could be doing this on a mobile device. What is the form like to fill from a mobile or a tablet journey? And if this is a difficulty for you, then what you need to think about is a tool that possibly LinkedIn could help with on the Profile API. And here we have an example of a job on the SGS website. The Profile API allows Valerie at SGS to access my profile information in the form of an application. So here I applied for a job, and I was given the option to go through the regular application process, or I could use my LinkedIn profile. If you think about it, all my potential employee information is already on my LinkedIn profile. This tool can be implemented without any impact to your existing business processes, but also, as a candidate, it gives me a choice. So I can go through the regular journey, or I can go through the apply with my LinkedIn profile journey. So here I have given my permission for SGS to access my profile. And in doing so, Valerie and the recruitment team have access to my profile, my summary information, my previous employment history, and my education experience, thus making the apply process a two-click process. As a recruiter, what is the benefit? The benefit is more completed applications and then a greater pool of potential candidates to screen.
So I just want to check in the audience, does everybody here use an applicant tracking system? Could you put your hands up, please? So pretty much most people. I'm going to talk about how the workflow for the recruiter can be optimized using something called cross-system awareness. Normally, if I search for candidates on my ATS, I'll be able to just see the list of candidates. But oftentimes, when I look at the different candidates that match my search on the internal system, sometimes the information is years out of date. So it can be a little bit of a waste going through contacting these people when they've moved on to something completely different. So I take an example here of Jeff Weiner. If I click on him, in fact, LinkedIn provides the technology that we can embed profile views within your applicant tracking system. It should save you from contacting Jeff in case, Jeff is the CEO of LinkedIn. He's sort of bedded in. He's not looking for a job change anytime soon. So it means that you're not going to have to spend time doing that, and you can do that for all your candidates. Also, it means that you won't have to flick between your applicant tracking system and jump into another screen to look at LinkedIn Recruiter to find the profiles of people. You've got it all in your own system. Really handy. Cross-system awareness, because it's about the two systems, it's about your internal system and LinkedIn Recruiter. We actually have functionality within LinkedIn Recruiter when you search for candidates. So here you see the in CSA tag here. That means that Jeff Weiner is actually embedded as a record within your applicant tracking system. And as a recruiter, you'll probably know that somebody's already speaking to that candidate, and there should be a history of the conversation within your applicant tracking system. And we provide the ability from within Recruiter to just link back directly to that record within your applicant tracking system so you can see the full context of that person. So in essence, it should make the workflow a lot easier, and it should allow your recruiters to be a lot more proactive. Valerie, I know that you use cross-system awareness in your company. Can you tell me a little bit about how that works within your team?
Well, we enjoy cross-system awareness because we have more than 50 recruiters who have recruiter licenses, and we also have an ATS. And in September, we moved to our new ATS, and at the same time, we really train people as well to use the functionality. And what the recruiters like about it is definitely, as you mentioned, the use of the ease of use. What I do enjoy as well is to see that as a global organization, those kind of tools help us to be more efficient, to be more productive. And that's important for us because we are recruiting a lot of people every year. Now, to talk about what it feels for a recruiter to work every day, I've asked one of my team members to talk to you and to share her experience. So I would like to share with you the experience of Tanya, who's recorded her feedback on the functionality.
I like working with LinkedIn and Taleo together because it really helps me save a lot of time in my recruitment. I can, once I'm in Taleo, view directly all the candidates that have a LinkedIn profile and quickly click on that preview, and it will bring me to like a summary of their LinkedIn profile. If I want, I can go even deeper and just click on that, and that will bring me to the full profile in LinkedIn. I can also compare candidates in my system of Taleo that have LinkedIn profiles, because I can just select 2 of them and compare using a preview of LinkedIn if one is more suitable than the other. I can maybe decide that one that has just recently changed jobs, I'm not going to contact him, and that really saves me a lot of time. The other way around, I can be in LinkedIn and see all the candidates that were in Taleo, and click on that logo in the candidate, and it brings me back into the system, into Taleo. I can also go from one system to the other in a very seamless way, and not just with one login in the morning, let's say. And I really think it's a great time saver, and I think it's a wonderful tool to have.
The good news is that we've taken some of the most prominent ATSs in the world, and we've partnered with them to put this cross-system awareness technology in there. If you use one of these partners, the cross-system awareness should be free to turn on. So you should contact your vendor to enable that. Of course, if you're not using one of these vendors, then just so you know, we're actually expanding the program all the time. So if you're using a different vendor, please contact your LinkedIn rep, and we can work on adding them to the program and getting cross-system awareness into those ATSs as well.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Rory. And thank you very much, everyone, for all your attention. We hope we've given you some ideas and inspiration of some of the power of LinkedIn that you can take and apply to your website, to your ATS system, and leverage your investment with LinkedIn. All of the plugins, the buttons that we mentioned earlier on, they're all available on our developer webpage, developer.linkedin.com. And this presentation will also be available on the Talent Connect webpage afterwards, and SlideShare, of course. But just to finalize, just some things to think about when you go back to work tomorrow or Monday morning. So make sure you get the follow button, start sharing your content, and get connected. And so with that, I'll open it up for questions. Have we any questions? Just put your hand up and someone will come around with a mic. Oh, there's a lady here.
Hi, I'm Ula. I have a question about your followers community. So do you have any perhaps metrics to share about how many of those followers were hired, or how many of those followers had relevant profiles to your business, or did you develop any prospects out of this community?
No, unfortunately, I don't have metrics yet, because as I mentioned, we have recently changed our applicant tracking systems. But what we know about those followers is that they do not only apply for jobs, but in our industry, it is also very important that they refer candidates to us. And throughout the analysis we've had very recently, we see that they can also refer to us the right people. So I think it plays both ways. They can be candidates, and that's great. That's what we want, and we know that followers are very likely to be candidates. But they can also act as referees, and for us, this is also very important.
Great.
Hi guys, probably a question for Rory actually in terms of the cross-functional awareness. I've found in the past that the nature of in-mails means people can't see responses. So like you were saying, if somebody's recently gone into a role, knowing what that person said. So does the cross-system awareness say, you know, responded to in-mail, wasn't interested? Does it update the notes automatically from responses? Or is it?
In fact, what it will do per person, you know, per profile that you have there, so you saw the little screen, it's like an embedded screen of the profile within your ATS. You'll be able to see notes that are put on there and updates for in-mails and things like that. And but we're constantly updating that as well. So if you have any ideas of future things that you want in there, just contact your LinkedIn rep as well.
Cool. Cheers.
We have a question over here. There's one just over here. Yeah.
Thank you. So my question is, so when you integrate to, the ATS with LinkedIn Recruiter, does it require every user of your ATS to also have a recruiter license?
Yes. So right now, it's seen as like an extension of your recruiter license. It's kind of a natural extension. And I think what it's supposed to do is really make you a bit more efficient. People spend so much time in your ATS, and to flick back and forth, you know, it's a little bit of a time waster. And it's really to extend your LinkedIn recruiter license. So if, in fairness, if you don't have a license, you won't get the use of that.
So and what happens if you have, for example, recruiters with a license and others without a license? They will have a different experience in the system, or?
They might have, but actually there is the possibility, if you speak to your LinkedIn rep, there is the possibility of using slightly different types of licenses. So you have recruiter licenses, but you also have job manager licenses and hiring manager licenses. And I believe that all of those licenses will allow you to use cross-system awareness to see those profiles. So that could be something of interest to you.
Okay. And so a related, slightly different question. When people apply with their LinkedIn profile, it will create their profile in the ATS? Or how does that work?
Usually what happens, and each and every ATS does this slightly differently. We kind of provide functionality that they can just take the ability to do this, and they can do it in different ways. But a typical scenario is that you may have a form that you fill out, you click a button, next thing the form that you see on screen is now filled. So that's what I've seen before. But it also, I think in Taleo, does it do an upload of the information, so that's slightly different.
Yeah.
So depending on your ATS, it will do something slightly different.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Hi.
Hi.
On the followers buttons and the share buttons, have you got a way of tracking the metrics? In other words, where we can identify where the followers are coming from? Is it from content or is it from our website? You get any metrics that you can measure on that basis?
I don't think we drill down specifically to the channel, whether they came through a mobile follow, a button on your web page, or one on the LinkedIn ecosystem. We just track them as a whole. So at the moment, we don't go that granular in detail. I think it's something they are looking at, but I can confirm maybe afterwards with some of the product specialists on that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
One question which might be a little bit tricky. You talk a lot about the integration of LinkedIn with the ATS systems. Do you think about integrating the profiles directly in the HR info system rather than going through the ATS?
Well, if your question is, do we think about migrating the LinkedIn data and have it directly imported into the ATS? Well, we do have a members first policy that, you know, we have a sort of a privacy policy to make sure that we don't share out data, so that's something significant there. And actually cross-system awareness really just allows you to view the profile. But I know there is functionality that could be available to the vendors once we've partnered with them, that if the member consents, they can have something called a stub profile, which I think is name, address, telephone number, email address, and that can actually be passed in with full consent of the member into the ATS. And it's a bit like the other question, depends on how the vendor implements things, but this is definitely available to them. So that could be something of interest.
And on the screen, just to add to that, the screen where I demonstrated applying for a job for SGS, as a candidate, I was asked for my permission to allow SGS access my details. So this comes back to the members first policy. The member always has to consent that SGS is going to take my data and store it then in that scenario. Yeah. Any more questions? We'll be available for a few minutes afterwards here, and if you think of anything afterwards, we're also in the customer success shop on the LinkedIn High Street, so you know, do pop by and say hello or ask any questions there as well.
And we're all connected on LinkedIn, so from my side, please feel free to come back to me after the events if you would like to share more. We'll be happy to tell you more about it and hopefully help you along your journey too. Thank you.
Thank you.